Let's talk about blockchain. You've heard the word, you've seen the headlines, but what is it really? Well, we're going to cut through all that noise and get right to the simple, powerful idea at its heart. Let's get into it.
So, first things first, what's the big problem blockchain is even trying to solve? Think about it. Sending an email or a photo online is easy, it's instant. But sending something of value, like money, that's always needed a middleman, a bank, a credit card company. And why? Well, it all comes down to one word: trust. How do you send money to a total stranger online and know for sure that everything's on the level?
And that brings us to this huge roadblock called the double spend problem. It's simple, really. If I hand you a $5 bill, I don't have it anymore, you do. But a digital file, I can copy and paste that a million times. So if I send you a digital dollar, how do you know I didn't just send the exact same digital dollar to someone else? This one little problem is what stopped us from having true digital cash for decades.
So how in the world do you solve a problem that big? Well, the solution is surprisingly elegant and way more intuitive than you might think. It doesn't need a big bank or a central company. Instead, it relies on the power of the crowd, and we can understand it all with a simple analogy: a public notebook.
Okay, so just picture this. There's a special notebook sitting right out in the open in a town square for everyone to see. But here's the crucial part. Everyone in the town also has their own identical copy of this notebook. And whenever a new entry is written in the main one, everyone else's copy magically updates at the same time.
The whole system works with a really simple three-step process. First, someone announces a new transaction, like Alice gives Bob 1 coin, and it gets written down. Then, and this is the most important part, everyone else pulls out their copy of the notebook to check. They look back and ask, wait, does Alice even have a coin to give? Once the community agrees that, yes, the transaction is legit, the entry is sealed onto the page for good. You can't erase it.
All right, so that public notebook is our big idea. Pretty cool, right? Now, let's connect that simple picture to the actual technology we call blockchain and break down how it really works.
First up, the block. What is it? It's literally just a page in our public notebook. That's it. It's just a digital page that bundles together a whole list of transactions that everyone has already verified and agreed are valid.
So, if a block is a page, how do we seal it so no one can mess with it later? That's where something called a hash comes in. A hash is like a unique, unforgeable digital fingerprint for all the data on that page. And here's the genius part. The fingerprint of page 1 is included on page 2, and the fingerprint of page 2 is included on page 3. This creates a chain of blocks. So if you try to go back and change just one tiny detail on an old page, its fingerprint changes, which breaks the fingerprint on the next page, and the next, and so on. It creates this massive ripple effect, making the whole history tamper-proof.
Now, when you put all this together, you get some incredible, almost magical properties. It's decentralized because everybody has a copy of the notebook. No single person is in charge. It's transparent because anyone can look at the public record. It's immutable, which is a fancy way of saying once something's in there, it's basically permanent. And finally, it's programmable. And honestly, this is where things get really wild. You can build little programs called smart contracts that run on the blockchain automatically. Think of it like a digital vending machine. If you put in $1, then you automatically get a soda. No middleman needed.
You know, this technology didn't just appear out of nowhere. The core ideas were actually floating around back in the 90s, but it was the 2008 Bitcoin white paper that first put it all together in a practical way. Then, in 2015, a project called Ethereum came along and introduced those smart contracts, which blew the doors wide open for what was possible.
And that brings us to the most exciting part. We've got this super secure, transparent, decentralized notebook. So what? What can we actually do with it? And trust me, the answers go way, way beyond just digital money.
Let's start with something we all know can be a pain: sending money to another country. You know the drill, right? It takes days to clear, goes through a bunch of different banks, and each one takes a cut. It's slow and expensive. With blockchain, you send it directly. It can arrive in minutes or hours, not days, and the fees are way, way lower. It's a total game changer.
Or how about this? The journey of the products you buy. With blockchain, we can create a permanent shared record of a product's entire life story. So you could scan a QR code on your bag of coffee and see the exact farm it came from, the day it was roasted, everything. And this isn't just cool for coffee lovers. Think about something like medicine. This could be a powerful way to fight counterfeits by proving a drug is authentic every step of the way.
Blockchain is also completely changing how we think about identity and ownership online. We've all heard about NFTs for digital art, but think about it on a more personal level.
Imagine your university issued your diploma on the blockchain. It would be a tamper-proof digital credential that you could share with an employer instantly. No more waiting for transcripts or calling the registrar's office. Just instant, verifiable proof.
Okay, now this next one is where things get a little sci-fi, but it's happening right now. It's called tokenization. It's the idea of taking a big, real-world asset, like an apartment building, and representing it as digital tokens on a blockchain. This means you could have fractional ownership. So instead of needing millions to invest in real estate, you could buy a single, tradable token representing a tiny piece of that building, opening up investments to pretty much everyone.
So, as you can see, this whole thing is so much bigger than just digital currencies. What we're really talking about is a new foundation for the internet, a new way to interact and exchange value that's built on math and community agreement, not on trusting a middleman.
You know, if I had to boil all of this down into a single sentence, it would be this one. It just perfectly captures what this is all about. It's a shared, secure, and smart database. And what it really enables is a whole new kind of trust for our digital world.
And that really leaves us with one massive question, doesn't it? For decades, the internet has been absolutely incredible for moving information around, but it was never really built to move value. So is this it? Is blockchain the missing piece, the new trust layer for the internet that we've been waiting for? What a world built on that foundation could look like? Well, that's something to think about.